the council and pledge of allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The first order of business today is the approval of our July 15th council meeting minutes. Oh, excuse me. I do declare a quorum. We have all 7 council members present. Excuse me. Thank you. In a
I
hurry.
have a couple of corrections or amendments to the minutes,
Okay.
the July 15th, if I'm on the right minutes. In the first and third paragraph, you mentioned the Hendricks County Economic Development Partnership Director, Jason, Brian Mildred's the director. He was at the meeting, but Joe spoke. So, and I don't remember what your title is.
Project manager.
Project manager.
Thank you.
Okay. And then on the fourth paragraph, it was motioned by Dave Cox to motion the resolution to approve the resolution.
Anything else? Care to make a motion?
I'll move that the amended minutes be approved as amended.
Second. We have a motion to accept the minutes as amended, and
The
we
July
have a second.
15th minutes.
Okay. Is there discussion further? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. Thank you. Next item is approval of the June 24th joint meeting minutes. And the joint meeting was with the county commissioners.
Motion to approve is presented.
We have a motion to approve the June 24th minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. The next item under old business is correction of resolution number on resolution 2025-16 to 2025-17.
Yep, I can read the title of that resolution that was adopted at the last meeting, and Ann needed to revise that resolution number for our record. So it was a resolution of the Hendricks County Council approving a lease between the Hendricks County Redevelopment Authority and the Hendricks County Redevelopment Commission and addressing other matters related thereto. So we just need a motion to correct the resolution number from 2025-16 to 2025-17.
All right,
I made a motion.
we have a motion from Mr. Cox. Is there a second?
Second.
A second from Ms. Marsh. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 7-0. The next item under old business is resolution 2025-20, designating economic revitalization. Yes, sir. Come up, please. State your name and your address.
I'm Joe Jason, the project manager for Hendricks County Economic Development Partnership. We're over on 4th West Main Street, just across the street. And I'm here to talk about the project at Heartland Crossing. Last time that I presented this, the paperwork wasn't in order. We've been working with Rhonda to kind of streamline that process, and hopefully going forward, we'll be more legally compliant and correct with that paperwork going forward. But the resolution is for a 5-year real property abatement for two buildings that will be going in at Heartland Crossing at 8863 and 8901 Union Mill Road. It would be a $6,300,000 investment for two buildings of 20,800 square feet and 44,800 square feet.
Anything else?
Few things. One, I know that there are some concerns because they were appealing their assessment. First, the appeal has gone through successfully. I received a copy of an email from Mr. Frank Kelly with Nexus, who is representing Hendricks in this matter, and they have approved for the assessment to go to 90,000 per acre as opposed to what was previously assessed for 450,000 per acre, which is 5 times what everything else in that adjacent area was. I have some packets that kind of go over that if you're interested, which shows both the area that the property would be in as well as the assessment for every adjacent property being at 90,000 and just these properties for some reason being at 450,000, again, 5 times what their neighbors were assessed at. And again, as of yesterday, I have a copy from an email with Frank Kelly at Nexus confirming that they did accept for that 90,000 assessment to be in line with their neighbors.
Excuse me, that acceptance was on behalf of the assessor?
Yes.
And if there would be no further appeals?
Should
To
the,
the next levels?
correct.
Yes, sir?
Nancy and I was just talking here a minute ago. Our abatement process, Nancy says, thought was back in 1997. That was back in the late 1900s. It's 2025 and slowly dwindling. We probably need to have some legal counsel with that, and we need to update that. I don't know if too many things were still doing in 1997, so.
That's absolutely fair, and I think this is probably going to be one of the last abatements that we do in this method. The reason that they are appealing for an abatement and the reason why we believe that they should receive one is that back during 2020, there were a number of abatements that were done in order to get some spec buildings out there to revitalize things during COVID. This is a smaller local company that is trying to compete with rents that receive those abatements, and this is only going to be a 5-year. So this is a way to help out a local company kind of ease out of that old method, and then we can talk about how we want to do things going forward.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
And Nikki, yeah, there she is, might be able to better answer it. Once a building is on these properties, will the land value go?
No, 90,000 would be the value of the land with that type of building on it.
And I'm not sure the Heartland Crossing TIF still exists. I think it timed out in '23. So I don't know that if that's even an equation in this. I don't see where it is, but I don't know if Greg needed to do some paperwork to close. I don't know how that process works, so. But I think the Heartland Crossing TIF is technically we would pass this AV through if it's still there, but there's no projects against it.
Ms. Cook, would you be able to comment on that?
The only thing I can tell you is that on their application, they filed it as being in a TIF area. So
Yeah, they
that-
wouldn't
that-
have known.
They wouldn't have known.
They wouldn't have known, so.
The extra step you have to do in the process when an abatement is given in a TIF area is that approval also has to happen by the county commissioners.
That TIF is gone.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm confused. Why was it valued at 450 when everything around it was at 90?
Because this was a split in 2025, and so when the split occurred, it was an error. It was just an error. So basically, it started out with 1 acre, it split into 5. When we made that split, we did a $450,000 because that is and that was wrong. It should have been 90 because that is what that area is. But we didn't have any plans. We did not know what they were building. I literally just got this information at the end of last week. I had no idea what they were intending on building. Had they been building a strip mall, then the land would have been different. It wouldn't have been 90,000. But because they're doing these spec warehouses, that's where that came from. So we have been able to negotiate that, and like Joe said, we just got confirmation this morning through email that they agreed to that value, so.
And it didn't go higher than your agreement.
Oh, yeah, no, it's done, and they haven't even seen a tax bill, so we'll be able to make all those corrections, and it's best case scenario for us, honestly.
So you see any reason not to approve this way?
Well, other than it's not in a TIF district, I can't speak on that, but
Well, typically TIF and tax abatements work against each other. Because what you're abating, then it doesn't get collected as increment. So
Yeah, they make no sense,
they
but
make
we
no
have
sense to
several.
work together, so, right. So it's actually more
Yeah.
beneficial to the county that it's not in the TIF area.
I'm wondering what action or if we should,
So I'll tell you what the next steps then are. So if you adopt this resolution today, we would then schedule it for a notice of public hearing. We'd give notice to the underlying taxing units about this abatement. And then we would come back and have a public hearing and adopt a confirmatory resolution, or you can modify this declaratory or rescind it. So this is just step one. It kind of moves you a little bit closer, but then you come back next meeting after the public hearing. And I can already tell you one thing I will want to correct in the confirmatory is that this isn't in a TIP, because I had some language in there about the commissioners approving it. So modify, confirm, or adopt the declaratory at the next meeting after a public hearing.
In furtherance of that first step, I'll move the approval of resolution number 25-20 with the understanding there will be a correction with respect to reference to TIF.
Second.
okay, we have a motion to advance it, and we have a second, further discussion, yes.
Just one other thing, on page 317, that's a typo, there's one too many zeros in that dollar amount there. Other than that, I didn't find that.
All right.
Would we be allowed to correct their paperwork? Is that according to Hoyle?
They've already had one correction to the paperwork where there was proposal of 11 jobs and then they changed that to 12, right?
Correct.
So then Joe went back to them and asked them to revise their paperwork, which they did, and I don't know if they refiled with the auditor. This is why some of this process, if we get this kind of nailed down to Dave's point, would be beneficial. But I wouldn't correct their paperwork, I would go back and have them correct.
Yep. And I can have them send that in, and whatever process needs to happen with the auditor, we'll be happy to make sure that they go through and do that. It's been a little bit of the Wild West, so we're happy to rein it in as long as we know what needs to be done. So if they just need to refile it with the auditor, we'll make sure that you get an updated, corrected copy.
To make sure everything's in order, I'm going to withdraw my motion pending the correction.
Okay, I'll withdraw my second, but then I'll make the motion to go ahead and approve it so we can make the corrections during the process before the next meeting.
Okay. Can I raise one more thing that I just would like your thoughts on? If you look at the resolution, the updated resolution, it has a map of the two parcels in the back. The way they filed this application is it's one ERA with two parcels that are not contiguous. I'm not sure why they submitted it this way instead of doing one abatement for one of the parcels and then second abatement for the other parcels, other than to avoid paying a second fee for their application. So I've asked the auditor and assessor about ease of administration, and how that might be more
I
difficult.
asked Chelsea to come down and give her input.
Okay.
I agree with you. I think that it needs to be two separate abatements. That's how other, parcels that have individual buildings on them are. There may be layers of abatements on that one building as it's in its completion, but it does need to be separate abatements.
So that would be another thing we would work to correct in the confirmatory resolution, is to make it two separate abatements.
Does that affect your motion?
Can we fix that? We have to do it, if we do that, can we still do it under the same process?
Yeah, we can.
My motion stands in.
We have a motion. We have a second from Mr. Cox. Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? 7-0. Oh, you're opposed?
Yeah, I'll post.
6-1.
I'm trying to prompt you to get us a new abatement thing, Mr. President, so.
Kendall did work on the abatement process. I worked with him doing that. I lost Kendall, so the project kind of, and Rhonda was in some of the meetings. Nikki was in some of the meetings. So,
I think she's volunteering.
no,
I think
I
that's
am
what you're doing.
not right now. Nope. Although I did retype the whole thing because it wouldn't scan properly because it was so old.
I do think we need to have a committee, and I think Nancy and Eric Wathen would be two great people from the council to help with this.
So,
Sorry, Eric.
Yeah, and we need to work with economic development.
Yeah.
So I
We'd be
think at
happy
one
to
time,
help
wasn't there
streamline
a hope everybody could use the same?
Yeah. Yes, it does. It's needed work on it. Yes.
Yeah, the same
Yes, it does.
documents would simplify things for everyone.
We have the internet now. 97, we didn't quite have it, but we have it today.
We have paper and pen.
Yeah.
We have typewriters.
Word processors.
Under new business, our next item is to approve the Parks and Recreation's Gibbs Welcome Center to be budgeted out of 1137, which is food and beverage.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion.
That's food and beverage, right?
Yes.
Food and beverage, yes, or 1157. Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 7-0. Next item is to approve the Purdue Extension Advisory Council assignments.
When we set up the boards, they put me and Eric on that.
And you are on it, are the two of you on it
Yeah,
already?
we're on right now.
Yeah, so it's about to end in September,
Okay.
so
Are you two willing to serve?
I'm good.
Continue? So Mr. Wathen and Mr. Cox will continue as our assignments to that advisory council. Next item is the innkeeper's tax, 50% of the 3% distribution assignment that we've been doing, I believe, in past years.
yes, you usually split it between Parks and Rec and the fairgrounds, and we just need to know, this is actually the split of the 1.5% that we get from them.
Yeah.
And I just need to confirm if you guys still want to split it.
We've, since, for how many years, we have the option of making that split as we choose, and we've always split that evenly between those two bodies. Usually, I think we do it in April or May.
Yeah.
But, in any event, I'll move that we continue with our past practice and split that 1.5% equally between the two bodies.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Hessen to continue our past practice of splitting the 1.5%.
I'll
We
second.
have a second from Mr. Wyeth. Discussion? Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? passes 7-0. The next is a review of the circuit breakers and recommendation of levy limits.
So this item, Ann is presenting that she's required to do this by statute each year to give the council this update. I think the intent behind the law is so that there can be a snapshot so that the council can see where the circuit breaker losses are happening in the county. And as you may know, there's things that council can do to adjust circuit breaker loss, such as adjusting your lit rates and applying more to property tax replacement credits, that kind of thing. Although all of that's gonna be changing with Senate Roll Act 1. So she is just by law required to present the circuit breaker status. And then you have the, what you're required to do by statute is either make a recommendation to the underlying taxing units, which in a lot of cases, counties recommend that they keep, that all the underlying taxing units stay within their maximum levy growth for the year, or you can decide to make no recommendation, and that's been your past practice, is just you don't do a recommendation.
Any comments on whether we continue or not?
The way I always handled it, rather than recommendation, was we can send a copy of the minutes. from
Yeah,
this
you're required to do that by law.
Right, of this meeting to the units, so it's not a lot of extra work for Ann.
Do we need a motion
Yes.
to do that?
Just a motion if you want to do a recommendation, or if you'd like to just keep no recommendation. Need a motion either way.
Do we have a motion?
I'll move that we make no recommendation to the units and state that we've reviewed the 25 circuit breakers.
Okay, we have a motion for a no recommendation. Is there a second? We have a second for Mr. Cox. Discussion? Further? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. Next item is the public safety distribution resolution. We have it's resolution 2025, and what we would, if we make that.
It'll be 27. You guys have passed this a couple of past years. This is based on this year's lit numbers. I just did what Nancy did and input the new numbers. I know in the future this may not exist anymore, so this will probably be one of the last years you want to do it if you decide to do it.
I'd make a motion to go ahead and approve these numbers for the distribution of public safety lit to these townships for their use.
Okay.
We have a motion to continue this distribution. I'm going to have a second. I know I've had correspondence and contacts that the townships Clay, Eel River, Franklin, Liberty, Marion, and Union, they all certainly appreciate the help that gives them. And I think they do need that help under the certain geographical circumstances.
Remember, when we started doing this, it helped them a lot. And I think it was Eric that first came up with that idea of doing this.
Yes. Any more discussion? We have a motion and a second to continue this distribution. Is there, nope. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. Okay, our next item is ordinance number 2025-18. And I need to open for a public hearing prior to this. Yes, sir, come forward, name and address.
Sure. Anthony Gary, 5794 Courtyard Crescent in Lincoln Township. And I don't particularly have any comments to any of these items, simply because I didn't have an opportunity to look at any sort of packet as to what they are. Usually, accompanying on the website the meeting agenda. There's some sort of packet where I can read about the different types of things that will be discussed in the meeting, similar to all the paperwork that you have in front of you, and I don't have that. So if it would be possible to have at least a little bit of explanation as to what these are, I think that'd be wonderful.
So this was presented at the last meeting. The public hearing is on the ordinance of the Hendricks County Council appropriating the proceeds of the sale of certain property to the Hendricks County Redevelopment Authority. Adam Steuerwald was here last month to explain this resolution. It was introduced, and then this is the public hearing for this additional appropriation, and he's not here today, but he said nothing has changed from what he presented last week. Or last month.
Can I make a comment? It's basically legal steps that have to be taken to give our collateral of that amount to the redevelopment commission, if that makes any sense. As for the highway.
For the further extension of the Ronald Reagan Park.
Oh, Ronald Reagan, yeah. So it's collateral because it's a lease.
Is there a motion?
Move to approve ordinance 2025-18.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
We have a second from Ms. Marsh. Discussion further? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. Approval. I should have closed the public hearing prior to that. Okay, next, we'll be opening another public hearing for any comments concerning the requests for additionals to the budget. Yes, sir, state your name and address.
Anthony Gary, same address in Lincoln Township. I apologize for the previous comment. I meant to comment on these 5 lines. Sorry about that.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, I will close the public hearing. Do we have any motion or discussion for these?
I just, and comment on that, on our website, we don't post this paperwork, just this.
No, but we've talked with Rhonda and Doug, and that we're gonna try and link them in the future. That just hasn't, we just haven't had time to do that yet.
Okay.
But the intent will be to provide stuff.
I can tell you what the LR work release is, requesting money, $65,000 to cover overtime and holidays, due to staffing issues. $900,000 is from food and beverage to purchase 1475 East Main Street.
And it's not food and beverage, it's Q caps.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think it was,
It says cum cap on the,
yeah, it's correct on the
it's
ordinance.
correct on the ordinance, it's incorrect on the supporting document they sent in. Health is,
What part of that was because we did the Gibbs Park,
maybe.
you know what?
759,268.59 is appropriate funds in the 2024 Healthy First Indiana carryover to make additional community public health partner awards. And then the court admin is $17,000 for an interpreter grant and $15,000 for the youth assistant program grant.
Thank you, Eric.
I have a question. Mr. Ayers, could you come up? My question is on item number 2, under the commissioners, for the purchase of the property there on Main Street. I had the understanding that had already occurred.
I don't know, I'm not involved.
Oh, I guess, Paul, I should address that to you.
It's in the works right now, but it's not been, it's not closed yet.
What this action would be is to make it so that it could
I
have.
believe so.
I read through the the proposal of the contract. And I was wondering when, I couldn't tell what was, seemed like there was some possible variable or variables that could happen or not happen in that process.
I know that Greg Sturwald's been going over a lot of this stuff. And I've gotten together this week and got the land survey results, of which I just got that to Mila this morning. So, like I said, I'm not real sure where it's all landing right now.
Bottom line, I don't think commissioners can proceed beyond a certain point until funds are made available.
Definitely there.
Right.
Okay. Does anyone care to make a motion concerning the additionals?
I'll move we approve additionals 1 through 5.
Yeah.
1 through 5.
There's 2 twos, sorry.
Okay, we have a motion to approve additionals 1 through 5. Is there a second?
Second?
We have a second from Mr. Wathen. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 7-0 for 1 through 5. Next item are transfers. We have 2 of them, one for facilities, one for highway.
I make a motion to transfer from professional fees to furniture and fixtures for facilities, and then that's for office furniture, and then from salt to vehicle repairs for kind of highway department.
Okay.
We have a motion. So you made the motion?
Yep.
We have a motion from Mr. Wathen. We have a second from Mr. Cox. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes 7-0. 1 through 2. Under other business, first item is discussion and recommendations for the maximum tax levies, but I think we've already covered that. Or-
I think so, but Ann probably needs a definite.
Yeah, this is my first year doing it, so Greg had recommended lowering a couple others and raising general, and I just need to know if that's what you guys want me to do.
I'm fine with these numbers because, I mean, it's his recommendation, and if it doesn't, all of these funds have enough balance in them that if something happens over the next year, we can make a change next year and adjust it back, but I think for a 1-year period, it's okay doing this. So I'll make a motion to approve these as presented.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Wathen to approve and a second from Mr. Wyeth. Discussion.
Yeah, I can agree with all these except Cambridge. And
Can I have one?
Yeah, John.
Come forward.
Yeah, I'm just curious what the change would be on Cambridge. I know we were talking about it at budget time. So I
I
don't
went
know.
from 7.1 to 6.5.
And the
You want us to go
established
lower,
rate.
John?
No.
Okay, I thought maybe you'd like that.
Because in the big picture, Major Bridge has a set rate. The funding is rate driven. So Major Bridge and Cume Bridge, you get your AV times the rate, rather than the rate the other way, the reverse way. So all these rates will go down on these Cume Cap. No, Cume Cap stayed the same. Cume Cap and Cume Bridge, and the others that are changing to shift to general fund. It's very complicated, and I understand why nobody understands it, but I am not in favor of changing Cume Bridge because Matt Weston was, I think, a commissioner at the time, but they asked through collaboration with John that it be raised. It could be 10 cents. So we raised it from 0.333 to 0.450. General fund has more money in it than it has ever had. So I'm not sure, I think Greg's preparing for worst-case scenario of SB 1.
I think
But-
that's exactly the strategy.
General fund is quite well off, so I am not in favor of doing that.
I don't pay Nancy to make those comments in support of Hume Bridge, but, I mean, you guys need to do what you gotta do to shuffle funds, and I understand that, and that's not a huge deduct. I know a lot of times we carry a balance from year to year, sometimes a big balance, but just kind of, our needs vary from year to year, depends on the status of the project. Sometimes things don't get as far along as we think they are, sometimes other things come up. I mean, we're looking at budget this year, I think, is a little over $5.5 million. Budget last year was about that. But in 2027, if you look at the list of projects we've got currently budgeted for design and development activities, we're going to construction with in 27, so we're probably gonna have a request somewhere around 12 million in 27 out of Hume Bridge. So, and I know we're carrying a balance, I just wanna let you know, we end up using that up over time. I mean, you guys have seen this, it's cyclical, and our bridge inspection calls for, the bridge inventory we had done in 24 calls for about $14 million in construction between now and 2030, and that's just on bridges. That doesn't count small structures. It also isn't ED costs or land act. So sometimes it's easy to see that, but that balance there and think, well, maybe we can reduce that rate, but we do use it up. Also, unforeseen circumstances. We had a bridge come up this year. We didn't think we were going to have to replace Bridge 49. We had to get an additional for that, around $800,000. So that's why we carry a budget, a balance there.
The recommendations from FSG at $6.5 million reduction on Cume and 5 on major, so that's like 11.5 reduction.
No, it's
No.
only down.
It's only 0.3
Okay.
million,
Yeah.
They're fairly small amounts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And
I'd be jumping up and down really hard right now if it's going down.
And I think that,
I'd be in a panic.
I mean, we've always made a priority of maintaining the county infrastructure, and if something, for some reason, needed to be more than what's in Hume Bridge, we have other sources, buckets of money to pay for that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
I think it's the second, yeah.
And is there further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
The motion passes 6 to 1.
Thank you. There was also discussion during our budget hearings that we wanted to add a historical preservation into our budget, but then there wasn't any decision on if we wanted to do that or not. And it wasn't on the sheet that you approved, so I just need to know if you want to do that or not.
Well, I appreciate it being on our agenda because I'm the advocate for the care and the keeping of our historical documents. But the discussion that we had during the budget process, it appeared that I was the Lone Ranger on that. So I don't know if anyone wants to comment or think about that. Otherwise, I guess it's not to happen.
Well, I will tell you, Larry, you're not the Lone Ranger. I am supportive of something like that. My concern with it is that it's not really been vetted to the point where it's something that I can, I guess, wrap my head around and decide and say, yes, that's what we need to do. Or
What would actually happen?
yeah, what it would actually look like. What are we actually talking about? The general idea of it, I'm supportive of. It's the specifics that I'm reluctant to commit to until I actually know what they are.
And I would say, I mean, like I said before, I think it's a commissioner's thing. If that's something they want to put together and bring a budget to us, we could look at that.
Okay. Any other?
Yeah, I thought that's what we left it, there was more stuff that needed to be looked into on that.
I'm with Chuck. I think the preservation's important, not to rebind, because that would be extremely expensive, but the preservation, and it probably is a
Just-
commissioner's decision.
Care and storage was what I was
Did you
concerned.
get out to that?
I haven't been, and any of the council members that would like, I'm trying to arrange with John Parsons, who has a key to that, to see what that situation is. My understanding is that there's a lot more documents that are not in that particular spot. So,
I think Paul said it's better than it was. correct? The books are better than they were? Or maybe Jack had said that.
Yeah, a little bit.
I had met twice with Jack Swally prior to his demise, and, but had not been in that storage unit actually, so
I'm like, I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about.
Those are the ones out at the fairgrounds.
come up and,
I was curious what you were talking about.
oh, okay. So I think that is to be passed on. Next item is a discussion about elected official salaries. Mr. Wyeth.
Sure. Before I get started with that, I just want to clarify a couple things real quick. It's been brought to my attention that we might have some confusion, maybe need some more definition on our salary ordinance. It's been brought to my attention that we may have had somebody think about making some changes with some payroll stuff. And I had Paula run me some stuff here a little bit on, what's it, R100s? The R100s is what the council approves salaries and wages for employees for the year. It's the salary ordinance gives us the range, which sort of correlates with our grades from 24s and 26s, from the minimum to the maximums. And at this time, the council is the ones who actually set the salaries and wages, and not up to department heads or elected officials. And as Paula has given me the 100 Rs here this morning of everybody who's on payroll of this year, no changes can be done to anything on payroll without council approval. Am I correct?
Those 100 Rs are for 2024, they're always in arrears.
Okay. Okay.
That says it's in arrears.
Yep, thank you.
If they went above what's on the salary ordinance, it would need an additional appropriation.
So I make a motion that we put a moratorium on no more payroll changes until we get a clear definition and make sure everything is corresponding to these 100 Rs, because it's not up to the department head or elected officials to change the salaries without coming to us.
So you're saying that somebody's, I guess somebody can make a motion, second order if we have discussion.
Okay.
So you're saying that the way the process has worked, we've had the
Wage scale?
wage scale, but yes, we also have the department heads as part of the review process that the person's paid for the next year, and we approve it, and then that's what it should be until they come to us and ask to change it.
And they have not, supposedly that's happened, and they haven't come to us to change it.
There are people's pay being changed in the middle of the year without coming to us.
There are a few instances. There are instances where people have hired new people, or they have transferred into a new position and they have a 90-day probationary period. And so they end up increase their pay after that 90-day probationary period. There are instances where people have appropriated an amount for somebody who's been here a long time, and then that person leaves and a new hire comes in and they still have that amount appropriated. So they'll give merit based on what they have in the account. There have been instances where
And there's a little bit confusion with merit and performance. And I believe merit needs to be more looked upon as a matrix, and the performances need to be done by the reviews, Eric. And I think there's some confusion there a little bit. Some people think they have the latitude to be able to move that scale to the upward side without our permission.
I thought those are the same thing.
They are,
Quite
I mean,
honest.
to me, they are.
What I understood it may have happened is the wage scale, if you're over the appropriation, which is the middle column, no, it's not the middle column anymore because I got performance, scratch that. But if you're over what is on the salary ordinance, some people have been taken to the maximum column because they can, and they really can't without an additional appropriation. The appropriation would be short, is what I think happened.
Or their budget has been approved for the max, and they've utilized that space, that extra appropriation, because they went to the max on their budgets, which was approved, but then they have actually brought on somebody, or brought somebody, and then given them an increase to max out to their budget.
I think the way to solve this is monthly, 'cause I mean, if somebody's getting paid, so the salary ordinance by person or by position?
It's the
By
person.
individual person?
Where's the 100, the person?
By position.
The salary ordinance is by position, the 100 is by
That, the
person.
salary, yes, okay, sorry.
So
We do it both ways, but it's
I think a
by
way
position.
to monitor this, and we should be anyway, is if somebody is being paid differently in the position that when we first approved it, that should be brought to us once a month to review, and then, I don't think it needs to be amended, but we have to approve, since we are in charge of that, we would have to say, okay, this is.
It's gotta be an additional appropriation. That's the process to get it raised in the system. It can't just be, it's gotta be an additional, they need to request an additional appropriation for the higher amount.
Unless the position's been empty all year and they have enough money in there to cover it, but we should still know that person's salary because we are the ones in charge of setting salary.
Correct.
So if somebody is hired or moved into position and that position pay is different than it is when we finalize it, we should have to, we need to be reviewing and approving that, in my opinion.
I don't believe any have come before us this year, so if anybody's above what's on the 100 R, that should be looked at.
Even if they're below it, we should still be approving it because we're in charge of setting salaries for different positions. So
Well, it would be approved on with the 100 R. We approved it at budget time.
Right. That's what I'm saying is,
But if they're above, it's gotta have an additional.
it would just be a report from HR every month saying, these are the positions that were hired, this is their new pay, this is what the position pay was before. Then we can either approve or deny it, but I mean, we're asking people to run their offices, so I don't see why we would, but we need to be made aware of it, is what I'm
I
saying.
think that's the problem, we're not being aware of it.
Yes, I agree.
I think Dave's, and isn't Dave's motion clarifying that for you? To some, better?
I think Dave was just saying we don't make any changes until we get it figured, but I think if we just make a motion to do what we just talked about, that would solve it going forward. And we need to see it for everybody this year.
Yeah, because you need to
Our
address
first
those.
report needs to
with
be
an
everybody this
additional.
year that's changed, every position this year that's changed. And then going forward every month, keep updated on that.
And I think there needs to be some clarification about the merit, performance, and probation, and so everyone's aware of what that says.
Yeah, I think this is fairly complicated. I think it can't be fixed with just a quick motion right now.
I
because-
think it's very easy.
Well, it might be if that were all that was the problem, but if people are, if what I'm hearing is correct, that if somebody leaves who's had several merit raises, or maybe they're the top end of their pay scale, and they hire their replacement, that the department head or whomever is automatically putting their replacement at that high end of the scale, that is a concern for me, if it's somebody coming from the outside and it's brand new. But I don't know if that motion would cover that. I know that I'm the new guy here, but I just don't know that would cover that.
I would think that would govern itself, because then you have other employees that are there and you have a department head upsetting other employees because they're hiring people with no experience at higher rates.
And that doesn't happen. I mean, in the government world, that does not happen. They may be ticked about it, but they're not gonna tell the boss a thing. They're gonna tell each other. So everybody's mad.
Well, I think what Dave has identified is a little bit of a loophole right now that needs to be shut, and then we can review for next year all of the other changes.
Mr. Wyeth, would you restate your motion, please?
I just believe we just need to put a moratorium on any payroll changes at this time until we have clear clarification on the process that we're looking to do for any future payroll changes.
Okay, Mr. Cox, is that what you seconded? Is there more discussion?
And that way it doesn't blow out our budget by somehow, and I think I don't think right now is the time to get down to the details, but I think there's some good opportunities for the details.
So when is this discussion of the details gonna happen? Because we still have 5 months left in the year and people are gonna
We
want.
need to have it soon, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So,
We're gonna approve the budget.
But we still need to see changes have been made today at our next meeting.
I would agree.
so I guess I want to clarify your motion going forward. Are you saying that if anybody deviates from the R100 right now, those are the ones that are frozen and under review?
Correct.
And that you want to see, like Eric mentioned, kind of a recap of what's been happening? And then kind of get our policy in place for how that process works going forward. Make sure everybody's clear on it.
We can't freeze all payroll change forms because merit deputies are on their own matrix and they automatically get their merits. So the term freeze payroll change forms can't really work.
Well, I guess we could just say they're subject to review then, and then during this month, we need to get a handle on what's been happening. Because the council does have to approve, in the salary ordinance, they approve the range for the position, but then they also set the salaries for individuals. And that's done when the budget's presented, and each department head comes in and says what they're paying each person in their department. The statute actually breaks it out. This changed probably about 6 years ago, that there's a definition for compensation. And then what's not included as compensation are things that you give, like longevity, good performance. Those are things that are separate. So it's very clear on how those things are broken out. And the statute is very clear that the council sets the salary for employees. So I think that's where you are.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any more discussion?
Yes. I don't disagree with Mr. Wyeth's motion. Obviously, something needs to be done because there's a problem. But how we got here does concern me. As I mentioned in our budget hearings, we paid a lot of money to have a salary study done, and we set the ranges, the manner in which pay would be done, and we have since abandoned much of that. And I'm sorry we spent all that money for something that long-term is going to be worthless. That's just my feeling about it. I think we're back to where we were before we did the salary study, where it's catch as catch can, every man for himself, and I think that's not healthy.
I would completely disagree, Larry. We did that study to come up with bands for the different positions. We are allowing managers to change up pay within those bands based on people's performance, so that higher achievers, while still in that band that we were given by the study, they're still in that band. We are allowing people to move apart based on your high achievers are going to be paying more than people that aren't performing as well in those same positions. As long as they're in the band, that's okay. And I'll state, like I did again during budget hearings, if the council isn't willing to allow some autonomy for department heads to run their employees and what they get paid, and we want everybody just to be paid the same, and that's what we need to do, is get rid of everything we've done and go back to everybody in every position gets paid the same. There's no way that we can create enough rules to, and what I've heard here today, limit people from doing what the department heads want to do without making a nightmare to follow. So it's either we give them the autonomy and direction on how to compensate their employees as long as they're in the bands, or we go back to everybody in that band, everybody at that position gets paid the same. I don't think it's possible to do both. We can't make enough rules to keep everybody in line, because there's always going to be a way to do something different that we aren't intending.
In theory, I agree with you, but I think we already are aware of the problems with that approach. That first of all, that it's the merit or performance is subjective, and as is bound to be the case, those who are closest or are the friendly to the persons making that decision are likely going to benefit most, or the person making that decision is not going to be placed in a position of having to choose one employee over another and is going to give everyone the same raise. Anyway, that's, I mean, where we are is where we are, and we'll just have to deal with it.
That's the way it works everywhere in the world. Managers have favorites, they pay them more. Some people might get shortchanged in their opinion. If we're not okay with that, I'm okay with it, because that's the way it is everywhere else except for in this building or in public buildings, I guess, around the state. But if the council at large by a majority vote is not okay with that, we need to go back to just everybody gets paid the same, because there's no way to fix it other than that.
I think, Eric, part of this too is people's looking at the salary ordinance and not to that R100. Just want to make sure that's clear.
Okay,
You follow me on that?
when we, like our attorney said, once we get everybody's individual salaries signed up, that is part of our salary ordinance. We put that in there. Those are the salaries for those positions. So if they're not following that, then that's an issue, and that's why we need to look at it every month to make sure that.
Well, I think this motion helps to close the loophole we have right now, and then when we do our salary ordinance here in what, a month or so, we'll have to address these other issues.
I think if we need to have them addressed before we get to that point, because I know from in the past working with Nancy, it's towards the end of the year, it starts getting more and more crunch time if we're making changes to how things are done. It just makes it so. In order for me to vote for this motion, we're gonna have to have a motion after it that we get this figured out in the next month, because
I would agree.
I think it's a.
That's a good point.
Call for the question.
Yep.
Okay, we have a call for the question. All those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, me, just because of what I stated, I think I think what you're doing is right by pausing it, but we need to have an action in place moving forward.
Okay, so the motion passes 6-1. Mr. Walken, opposed.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'll make a motion that we have a subcommittee picked by the council president and work with Ann and get these issues wired down, and Ron and Ann get these issues all wired down before we go to our
So that's
salary ordinance.
So that's a motion?
Yeah.
Is there a second to this motion?
Second.
Okay, we have a second from Mr. Wyeth. Discussion. Those opposed? Oh, whoops. Those in favor of, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes 7-0. I will appoint a subcommittee for that to work with the auditor and the council attorney.
That has nothing to do with what we discussed, like the official salaries, so.
That's correct.
Next,
Next. Okay, all right, so back at budget time, I shared with everybody, sort of did the farmer way of on a yellow piece of notebook paper and a pen. Since then, Eric, you put together a spreadsheet, and on this packet that's being sent around, on the very top
Yeah,
page is
you do
Eric's.
10%, yeah.
And I did catch that on the 3%, because I looked at that and I thought, well, okay, that's close enough.
So I put it together, so if we would adopt that, I'm recommending it being at the 4.
So that is one change. If you notice on the very far right side of Eric's, his was a 3% and not a 4% if we make a final
I
approval.
put that together before we made the change, yeah.
So if you turn to the second page, you'll see spreadsheet. It has the 5 different elected officials on the top. If you look down the left-hand side of each of the columns there, I use the 7 counties of Elkhart, Hamilton, Hendricks, Johnson, Porter, Tippecanoe, and Vanderburgh. And you'll see what the average salaries were based on those counties. Those counties are comparable in size, other than Hamilton is a larger county, but I used Hamilton and Johnson because of the donut counties. The second column, you'll see the averages without Hendricks, and you'll see that average salaries go up. Then on the third column, you'll see the 5 counties without Hendricks and Hamilton. Part of the reason why I did that is because that shows you a little bit of the impact and influence of what Hendricks County's salary does do in an average of the 7 counties. And when you take it out, and when you take out Hamilton. We all know Hamilton has a lot higher salaries for their elected officials. That would skew quite a bit for what we're trying to accomplish, but I'm trying to use that within an average. Also, those salaries are also based on the 2024 gateway, so I do not have 2025. We can all make our assumption of what those changes might be in those other counties. As you go down, you'll see a factor number. That factor number is the spread between the low side and the high side using 5 counties and 6 counties. So you have a spread of somewhere between $5,800 to up to almost $11,000 between those 5 different offices. It shows 2024, what our actual salaries were, and if you look back on the next page, page 3, you will see our salary amounts in 24 and 25 for our elected officials as a comparison. In the yellow column, that is using a 50 percentile, and I'm not using the word midpoint, Nancy, but 50 percentile is the difference in the spread between the high and the low of each of those offices, and that will give you that amount, and you can use that in the yellow. You can compare that to the line above in Hendricks County 2024. You can see the 75 percentile, so that's taking 75% of that spread difference of the factor. You can take the 85% and do that as accordingly. When you look at the 2025 and the orange line, that shows what they are currently being paid. Again, reference back to page 3. The blue line shows the COLA, which is what we decided on at budget time of 4%. That's a 3% COLA, 1% performance for all elected officials. And that number correlates with Eric's on the very front, other than you need to add 1% to Eric's. The pink line is sort of the one that seems like makes the most sense. That's at a 75 percentile, added the 7% COLA. The 7% COLA is the 3% that was in 2024, and the 4% that's being possibly applied in 2026. Then the next line, you'll see the difference of each department on those 5, sort of where that change is, and it looks like we're getting pretty close in line to sort of a market. Down towards the bottom, you'll see the employees. That's how many employees are in each one of those departments. We have the auditor 14, assessor 24, clerk 25, recorder 8, and the treasurer on 6. When it says Dave's number 1, this is the farmer instinct coming out of me. So when someone says, what do you think that person should make? That was based off of my discussions that I had with these individuals and sort of looking at the preliminary numbers without getting deep into the details. Then you see my second one. That was sort of what I thought might be the change, and you can see there's some changes. Again, this is just my assessment. On the very bottom is the private side and the corporate side. As I referenced to, I talked with the CEO of HRH 2 weeks ago, had a great discussion with her. I talked with Tim Wickers, CEO, founder of Electric Plus, Braden Fleece of Fleece Performance, and Mike Hayden of Keystone, who is the vice president of Energy, who's a very large employer across the state and multi-states. This is a range that they sort of gave the managers between a 93,865 up towards almost shy of 109. So I'm not going to make a motion on this because I put all this together, so I don't want to have a biased opinion, but the numbers don't lie. I was sort of shocked once I sort of did all this. We're not far out of line compared to the private sector. I don't think we're too far out of line with the adjustments that we have made in 25 and 26 on these 5 right here in front of you now. So I'll stop there and pause if there's any questions.
The 5 you're referring to is in the pink.
I'm sorry about?
Yeah, the 5. Your conclusion would be?
Yeah, the pink sort of seems to be the one of being at the 75 percentile with the 7% COLA adjustment, 3% for 25 and 4% of 26. And you can see there's two offices there that doesn't show that needs to have an adjustment and 3 that does.
What about the study on the surveyor?
Sure, on the surveyors on the back page, that's a very difficult one because sometimes you have surveyors that are part-time and full-time. I did not call these counties and get deep into the weeds, but I'm assuming based on their population, they have a full-time. It looks like we are right in line with our surveyor, maybe even towards sort of the top end, to be right honest with you.
Just a question or observation. The COLA you show as 4%. The COLA is cost of living allowance, but you said 3% plus 1%?
Sure, Larry, if you remember at budget time a couple weeks ago, we said the COLA would be at 3%.
Right.
And then we're doing the 1% performance, and we put 3 and the 1 together to give across the board to all elected officials the 4%.
Okay.
Okay?
So,
We also raised the wage chart by 4.
Yes, and we raised the wage scale by 4% as well.
Technically isn't right, but
with respect to elected office holders, every elected office holder then gets a performance increase, the 1%? Is that?
My
So we
motion
did
was
last
just,
year.
my motion was just to give everybody a 4% across the board for office
Okay,
holders.
so it's really, there is no performance then, it's all cost of living
Yes.
allowance? Okay.
However you want to take it, that's correct.
Well, I mean, it's,
Yeah.
okay.
I think to Eric, and I'm not speaking for you, but it was the 3%, and since employees can be up to the 1%, Eric said, let's just make it across the board for elected officials of 4%.
Okay.
Any other questions? A lot of information there, but I spent a
I'm not
lot
sure
of
if this is
time.
the appropriate place to ask the question. But with respect to longevity pay, which is not part of this, but with respect to longevity pay, if an elected office holder has longevity pay, and the chief deputy gets 85% of the elected office holder's pay, does that elected office, chief deputy share then, is that also 85% of the longevity pay?
So with this calculations, there is no such thing as longevity in the formula
Okay,
because I don't have a clue on what the other counties did as well as on the corporate and private sector as well. So to answer your question, this will be the salary without any longevity.
without any longevity.
So
Okay.
if we decide to make that change to whatever we want to do, that will be the salary,
Okay.
period, for 2026.
But there is no, longevity pay is gone, it's
Yes.
just people's salaries, so it isn't.
Yeah, and this would trump it anyway, so.
There is no longevity pay.
For the elected office.
what I wonder is, like, my pay had $1,500 in longevity. So should that have come off for the
I
base
did not,
calculation?
you know, Nancy,
So you didn't, yeah, you wouldn't,
you wouldn't know that because that was one of the things that we customized did as Hendricks County. I don't know what other counties did. So I just gotta look at that base number and say that's what it is.
but when you extrapolate it out, it
It-
becomes
it
a
could- it
huge
could-
number.
It could be, it could be.
Yeah.
And Larry, back to your point, if we adopt anything here, then to me, the chief deputy would be at 85% of what that salary is of 2026.
But it's also with that chief deputy's longevity pay?
No, chief deputy would be at 85% of what this salary is right here.
No
But
longevity.
we can see that it's in it already.
It-
It's in it,
it's-
so they
it-
get it, so.
You could skin the potato that away and say, yes, that's the way it is, yeah.
I make a motion that elected officials get a 4% increase based off of their 2025 pay. So it's 4% more than their 2025 pay.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
No, that's the same motion we did, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'll say.
I added in the 2025 pay to this one so that might make it different because of all the other things taken into account.
Say that again?
I added the 2025 pay instead of saying, because that way it gets rid of all the other longevity, all that stuff. It's just whatever the 2025 pay is,
At 4%.
add 4%, that's a pay for everybody next year. That's my
Okay.
motion.
And that would be what would be the blue line
Yes.
here.
I think so.
which would be comparable to what you're saying over here.
Yes.
Add your extra 1%.
So
Yes.
yours, this motion more refines what we did.
Yes.
We have a motion, floor, is there a second?
I seconded it.
No, sorry, I didn't. Ms. Marsh seconded.
For clarity for me on the,
Yeah.
where certain positions, because of the qualifications, they get additional funding, that funding is outside of that.
Yes.
Your motion. Thank you.
Like the surveyor gets paid for cornerstones and miles of drains, and then the
Yes.
clerk gets paid for some things, and then a couple of people, yeah.
Further discussion?
So, Mr. President, I did put a lot of time and effort into this, so it was sort of fun. It really was. It sort of was, and I had a great discussion with all the elected officials and such, but it was enjoyable.
Well, we appreciate very much.
No, yeah, I really do. But I think it's good that it proved that we're pretty close to where we should be anyway.
Yes, yes.
It's a check, because we went through this, 3 or so years ago, when we looked at it and adjusted some people.
Probably 5 or 6 years ago.
Whenever it was.
Yeah. It's time to do another
Yes,
one.
yeah.
And I think in the future too, you can come up with numbers of anybody you want in whatever counties you wanted to use. And, maybe in a few years, Hancock may be a county that you utilize. And I'm sure that Hancock is probably gonna be looking at us, probably in the future. And everybody's gonna be chasing Hamilton, but.
Is that true, Rhonda?
No one's gonna catch it. A few good things come out of Hancock.
Something that did come out of this, though, I think we will actually be bigger than Tippecanoe County next year.
To growth rate, yeah.
Okay,
So we have a motion on the floor.
all right. Further discussion? No? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
For real?
Yeah, for real. Because I think I wanted to go with the pink line, that was just me, but, I didn't want to make the motion, so I'll try to carry the flag for the elected officials.
The motion passes 6-1 with Mr. Watson.
Thank you, council.
Or, Mr. Wyatt opposed. Next is our status of funds. Thank you for the update, monthly update. The next thing is, I want to acknowledge a letter.
Something's wrong with your math on that spreadsheet,
Oh,
Which part?
because it's showing we have $1 million less today.
Yeah, so this was an error made by myself.
This,
Anything that you've approved additionally had not been added into the spreadsheet until.
no, I'm talking about the food and beverage.
Oh. Yeah, that cut down a lot.
So, yeah,
It looks so sad.
there's some math problem there somewhere,
Yes.
because we've gotten more every month than we have
It's gonna be right there.
in past years, and says we're down by almost $1 million.
That's why I put those differences down there.
Something's off. Just see.
correct, you can find the error.
I just.
This is
I
sorry,
put in the
Eric,
number we
which-
got.
Huh?
Which,
If you look at food and beverage receipts to date, it says we're at 3 point, unless that's for the total year.
Just says that the yearly
That's
total
the
below
total
it.
year.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
But
the
that's
other,
total
final
year.
column's total year. At one time, I changed that every month, but it becomes cumbersome.
Okay, never mind that. Maybe there isn't.
It actually should be January
We're
through
okay.
August, not September.
I'd like to acknowledge a letter that we received from the Avon Public Library. It says, as you may remember, the Avon, Washington Township Public Library went through the process of having the council approve the sale of a general obligation bond last year in the amount of $3.2 million for improvements to 2025. That was last year. In February of this year, the Avon Library received notice that a late resident of Washington Township had made a bequest to the library in the amount of $4.5 million. Because of this generous donation, we will no longer be pursuing the sale of bonds for 2025. I appreciate the council's willingness to hear our request and your approval. So I just wanted to have that in the record. We have also received the accounting of the grant funds from Franklin Township trustee, Gavin Reitzel, and from the Eel River Township, Tamara Williams. Acknowledging those. And also from Liberty Township, Brad Butler, recognizing those, so I wanted to acknowledge those. And she just got it.
Before we move on, something I just thought of, so the motion we made earlier to not allow any changes to pay until we figure something out. What if we have new hires coming in? Can they still hire those new people? How does that work?
Brand new people should go to the scale,
Yeah, everybody's affected.
and they can do anything up to what's on there. They can,
So I guess, so that your answer is as long as it's less than that position, less or equal than the position was budgeted at, they're okay. But we still need to see them as part of the report so we can say that, yes.
Give our
and if
blessing.
they're brand new, I think we encourage, speaking for myself, it's just, the original intent was to start at a lower rate rather than the midpoint. But everybody wants to pay their employees as much as they can because of inflation, so I get that.
Competition, so too.
Competition, qualification.
I just want to make sure that, provide clarification to that.
Do I need to bring that up? No. This time I open up for public comments. Hearing none.
I do quickly.
Oh,
Um,
you're an elected official.
Well, I'm still.
You're not part of the public.
Do you want me to wait?
Let's see, who are you?
Laura Herzog, Hendricks County reporter. Very respectfully, I want to ask, I had not heard anything about the payroll change form that Dave was talking about. I still don't know what that's about, so I would respectfully ask if that's a problem that someone's doing, like if it's me, I would like to know about it. Instead of having it in a public meeting where it sounds like we're all doing something crooked.
Well,
If there's, the word problem was used several times.
I think there's been.
I think there's an issue.
Okay, so that should probably be addressed to that individual.
I'm going to appoint a subcommittee to
Okay,
look into that, and then I'm sure they'll be contacting
Okay.
everyone that
Thank you.
that affects.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Larry.
thank you.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Council comments, Mr. Costa.
I don't have anything new.
Ms. Marsh, comments?
I was calculating here, sorry.
We're having a sidebar conversation over here, but
AIC conference is coming up,
September.
so September, the end of October, so the very end of September, so. The hotel's booked. I think Ann made some reservations, so.
I think I heard that every hotel in French Lick.
Even West Baden, the presidential suite is open, if anybody would like that.
nice.
$1,500 a night.
It's nice.
If that's,
Can we afford that?
And Ann, are we in West Baden or,
French Lick.
and
Anything else?
Hendricks County is getting an award. I don't know if you mentioned it. Dave nominated YAP
Yeah.
for an award, and they're getting one of the recognition awards this year, so.
Cool. Very good.
Yep.
I don't know if it's better to bring that in after or before, but yes,
So I,
Hendricks County's been recognized for our GAP program.
I-
In the state.
It appears that the YAP program is very effective. It's being spread.
so I think they interviewed, is it Judge Smith?
Yeah, they interviewed the judge, the GAP director, and then
Stacy and
Oh.
Judge Smith. So There's, for those of you who've never been, there's a little film and talks about the project, so. Sit down, you get a great big sign.
Anything else? Anything
No,
else?
that's all.
Mr. Wyeth?
I don't have anything this time.
Nothing. Mr. Wathen? Oh. Mr. Bessel?
No, except, like Nancy, I would encourage all who can to attend the annual conference. It will be the largest attendance in the history of the AIC.
Wow.
So,
Last year, I think, set a new record.
It did.
also.
It did.
I don't have anything, Mr. President.
Parsons?
Nothing, Mr.
Nothing?
President.
And? All right, well, hearing none. At 10:20, I adjourn this meeting. Thank you.